Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of the tutorial series where we look at the audio editor from Octatrack. Today we're going to check out the edit menu, the LFO button here. Yeah, we're on a flex track indicated by the F next to the tab. I've assigned recording track 3. That means if we're going to hit record on an input, it will be recorded into that slot. Let's get a signal. And here we can see some audio is coming in. We can open up the editor if we want, and now if we press record you can see the recording happening live. That looks like a decent enough length. You can audition a sample by holding down function and pressing yes. One thing is important to note. I've chosen a flex machine for this track because the amount of editing possibilities you get with the edit menu is very different from static track. So when we look here on a static sample and we press yes, then you can see we only have 4 options to choose from. While when we're on the flex track and we press yes, we get a whole list of actions that we can use on our sample. So this is why you want to work in a flex track. Pretty helpful to start sampling inside the edit menu anyway, using your flex track and the recording buffer. It all comes together very nicely. Okay, so let's try to make our first cut. So as you might have noticed, if you watched the past 2 videos, here we don't have a start and an end point. We only have the playhead or the locator, the cursor here. You place it somewhere and then you can use the C knob to open up a selection. And then you can move the selection around and find the location that you want to edit. And then it's just a matter of pressing yes and choosing what you want to do with that. There's also a connection between the trim and the slice menu or mode. When you use the trim menu and you set a location here for your trim, this selection is also synced with the edit menu. So when we zoom out here, you can see I'm now at the end, which is exact same position that I left here, choosing the start and the end point. The only difference here is, as you might have noticed, the zoom jumps into the selection here. It's just to help us. Now on a slice, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a bookmark. So let's add some slices here. So we got 4 slices. We can go back and forth. Now this selection is synced inside the edit screen. So when we go over to edit, we're here at the beginning and we go to the 3rd slice and we're in the middle at the same position. So we can jump between slices and edit them right away. Let's remove all the slices by pressing function clear. So let's find the beginning of the sample by zooming in and audition with function yes. That's close enough. Now we're going to expand over to the end of the loop. Alright, now as you might have noticed, there's a little rectangle appearing on the locator. What this rectangle means is that there's a 0 cross. So it's a safe spot to make a cut. You won't have a click. So cut by pressing yes, and the second option is crop to selection. That means it will remove everything that is before the start point and after the end point. Now it's cropping the audio, throws away everything left and right and leaves us with the perfect loop. It doesn't keep on looping while I'm holding down the audition key combination. So for that you can go to the bottom and change the preview mode. So loop selection, you have to enable looping, make a selection here. Okay, and now of course it's cut, we can now place it, right? Well, we can't because the BPM is off. We just had this super long sample and the BPM got calculated but removed almost all of it except the crop. So let's go into the attributes, and here we could manually adjust the tempo if we know how fast the loop is, or we can use the edit menu again, press yes and all the way to the top. There's select all, it's a shortcut, and then we're gonna find calc BPM from cell. That means calculate beats per minute from selection. And then it tells you the BPM and also sets the correct BPM into the attributes. So, and as we can see, our snares are on the 5 and the 13, just like you would expect. Alright, so next I would save the sample, because it's a nice loop, and everything we edit here inside the edit menu is destructive. So there's a couple of ways to save it. We can save the sample as copy, or we could save it and assign the sample to some other track, if we plan on using it there. Or if we go into the edit menu, while we are still in the selection, we can save the current selection as a sample. That's pretty cool. So for example, if you have a drum loop like this, we could say, okay, this is the kick, and here's our snare, and there's some hi-hats, and we can always then go into the yes menu here and save the selection as sample. Press yes, and there it defaults to a prefix named cut. Saving a selection like that is pretty fast. Keep using it whenever you make an edit, and make sure that you don't lose anything that way. Also, when you confirm saving, it will not kick you out of the edit menu. So you can keep on working on the sample, make edits, little changes, and create variations like that. So you can really get the most out of your sample as you progress in editing. Okay, so what can you edit? So let's find something that we like. Let's say I like this snare. I could then just copy it, paste it, or make a fade in, press yes, and fade in selection, fade out. Then we can do some reverse. Increase the volume or lower the volume by 3 decibels. And you can also reverse the reverse and keep adding like that. Yeah, and another cool feature is duplicate selection. It's kind of like the paste that I already did here. It adds to the end, so you can make these stutter effects in between, and there's a second time the same option, but with the arrow pointing to the other side, so it keeps adding to the beginning. You can change the paste mode here and apply that it's mixed with what is there, or that it replaces what was there before the paste. Alright, but actually my favorite here is rotate position to start. What it does is you find the place with the cursor, and we could say like, okay, this peak here in the center, I want to rotate this position to the start. So it's taking everything that comes after the locator, places it at the front, and everything that is currently at the front is getting pushed to the back. So it's kind of like reshuffling from front to back. So let's try it out. So as you can hear, here's our previous beginning of the sample. And now you can just keep on doing that. And make really crazy edits with this feature. Of course, then it's basically you're free to do whatever you like. Let's reverse the selection again. So we're already pretty deep in here. Let's copy this part. Now let's change the paste mode to mix. Paste it here. So we get a little bit of that kick sound and what we just pasted over it. Yeah, just go crazy with this. So it's mixed, so it's getting louder, that's why. So at any point in time I can go back and say like, okay, let's make this quieter. Okay, it starts sounding weird, but that's just normal at this point, I would say. Of course, I'm just demonstrating what is possible and how easy it is to make really heavy edits on a sample that we just basically just recorded out of nowhere. Now we could say like we want to have a moment of silence here. Press function clear, and then we get a piece of silence here right in the middle. And then again we could rotate the position to start, and so on. So yeah, of course you can still then choose to use the slice menu to find various slices and use the ping pong mode when looping. And then there's all the other stuff that you can do inside the source setup, like re-triggering, rate, pitch, and then do some locking. Then maybe add a beat. There you have it, doing some extreme edits and coming up with new sounds from something as innocent as a loop like that. It's just a basic demonstration what you can achieve with it, and yeah, I hope you liked it, and see you in the next one.